So, good morning everyone. I am Aditya Gupta.
I am Shishir.
Today we'll be presenting the unexpected hanging paradox. This paradox was first stated by Martin Gardner in 1963. So, here's how the problem statement goes. On Sunday night, a judge tells the condemned prisoner that he will be hanged on noon in the following week. But he adds an extra condition, saying that the execution will be a surprise to the prisoner. The prisoner goes back to his cell. After some thinking, he comes to the conclusion that he will not die. He thinks that there is no day on the week where it's possible for him to be hanged. So, how does he come to this conclusion?
So we try to go to the thought process of the prisoner. So first, the prisoner assumes that he is alive by at Thursday night. If that is true, then the only possibility is that he has to be executed on Friday. But that would make that it is not a surprise anymore because he knows that he's going to be executed on Friday. So he, by contradiction, he concludes that he will be dead by Thursday night. Now we want to take this argument to eliminate more days. So the prisoner assumes that he is alive on Wednesday night, and now he knows that he has to be executed on Thursday or a Friday. But because he has concluded that he cannot be executed on a Friday, so now he concludes that he has to be executed on Thursday. But now as he concluded that he has to be executed on Thursday, it's not a surprise anymore. So now he concludes that he cannot be alive at Wednesday night also. So now his final conclusion comes. He uses the same argument on Tuesday night, Monday night, and Sunday night, and he rules out the possibility of him being executed on Wednesday, Tuesday, and Monday respectively. So he concludes that he can never be executed in this week.
However, the cold reality is that things didn't go as he planned. Unfortunately, on Wednesday afternoon, he was hanged. So, where did he go wrong? How does this paradoxical situation arise?
Just a question. Can you actually go back to the statement that the judge made? One week day before.
Particularly in Monday to Friday. Now, before I move on to the possible resolutions, I'd like to mention that this is still an open problem and this has a lot of room for debate. Most of this paradox arises from the fact that the nature of the statement is not very clear. We do not know the inherent conditions, we do not know how the judge is giving his statement. So, we take our own interpretation and try to come up with some basic resolutions. First, we look at a very naive resolution. The naive resolution comes from the fact that the prisoner does not expect to be hanged at all. Well, ironically, this makes his hanging on any given day a surprise. Thus, the judge has managed to fulfill his promise. The prisoner was executed and his execution was a surprise. By overanalyzing the situation, the prisoner has managed to doom himself to an unexpected death.
Now, before we try to move on to another resolution, we try to address the ambiguity in the word surprise. So, the main confusion here arises because the word surprise is a bit too vague for our understanding. So now we want to concretize the meaning of the word surprise. So from now on, we are going to define surprise as not being able to deduce using these statements. So using that definition of surprise, the judge's statement can be restated as the prisoner will not be hanged next week on a weekday and the day cannot be deduced by using this statement.
So, this statement has now become self-referential. Let's take a minute to talk about self-referential statement.
The prisoner will not be hanged.
Will be.
The prisoner will be hanged and he cannot deduce it on. So the statement becomes the prisoner will be hanged next week and the day cannot be deduced by using this statement.
Now let's take a minute to talk about self-referential statements. We define to be any statement that refer to their own attributes or characteristics. And in general, we have seen from the previous paradoxes also like is heterological, that they often cause problems in math. Another example is the famous liar's paradox saying this statement is false. This statement, if assumed to be true, turns out to be false, and if assumed to be false, turns out to be true. So this weird implication happens here also. The prisoner deduces that he won't be hanged based on assuming the judge's statement is true. But herein lies the problem. By assuming his statement to be true, he comes to the conclusion that it is actually false. So what's happening here? The prisoner does not seem to have made any logical error in his deduction. We think his logic is sound, but still the self-referential statement here makes the deduction possible. If we once again see the judge's statement, the second part of the statement saying you cannot deduce anything from this statement. Inherently, we might think that this does not add any more value. We are not gaining any more information from this fact. But what happens is it changes the fundamental structure of the problem and makes stuff like this possible.
This leads us to believe that there's an inherent flaw in mathematics, and like statements like this, which are self-referential, cause a lot of problems. They cannot. So these statements, which are self-referential, cannot be analyzed by using mathematics, which we know as first-order logic. And so all the logical deductions made by the prisoner is not justified. So we conclude by saying that there is no way to determine the exact day of the hanging, and such inherent statement structure of mathematics is not capable of analyzing such problems. These things go to the domain of meta mathematics or like proofreading. So this led a famous logician or mathematician Kurt Gödel to state his incompleteness theorems, which shook the math world by a storm.
So then, thank you. We'll be open to questions now.